Explore 2023 has been amazing, John. We've been having announcement after announcement, conversation after conversation. It's been a really, really exciting week. And man, this is going to be a great one. We're going to talk a little bit more about VMware Cloud, the evolution of VMware Cloud. And here to join the conversation is VP of Product Marketing, Prashanth Shenoy. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks a lot, Pete. Thanks a lot, John, for having me here. I think I had to struggle here to get there. You guys kept saying, no, we don't have time, but I finally found myself here in. So thank you, though. Thank you. Looking forward to the conversation.
You've been a busy man. You've been running around, presenting sessions, talking to customers. Before we even get into VMware Cloud, how has this week been for you?
In one word, exhilarating, I would say. It's when you come here, you're always looking forward to customer conversations, and when you start having these conversations, and I joined VMware like a year back, right? And that was a week into VMware. I had my first Explore at San Francisco, and I didn't quite know what to expect. And back then we were just coming out of the Broadcom acquisition news, so there's a lot of chatter, talk. A lot of questions were around that, a lot of questions were around pricing and all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. So I didn't quite know what to expect here, but I must say I've been very, very pleasantly surprised in terms of the excitement, the enthusiasm of our customers, of our partners, in terms of that slew of announcements and innovations that has come out of VMware Cloud particularly, and some of the use cases that they are thinking about, right? Whether it's around ransomware recovery aspect, whether it's app modernization, whether it's around the buzzword of the year, Gen AI, and how they are thinking VMware can help them move. So plenty of exciting conversation, plenty of learning, I would say, for us to take away that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I recently heard you present, a couple of slides around the evolution of VMware Cloud, and I think the part that really stuck to me was, there's this comparison of what has VMware been doing for years? Well, we started out by simplifying compute, with vCenter, with aggregating our servers. I think the next version of VMware, simplifying infrastructure was VMware Cloud Foundation, where we had a full SCDC suite with storage, network, compute, as well as automation. And then now this next version being VMware Cloud, having this multi-cloud infrastructure as a service. And so how has that been resonating with customers for you?
It's been really good. I was just talking to the customer before I came into this podcast here, right? So, and I say we are in the business of abstracting complexity from our customers' environment. Yeah. That's I think what we do, and we've had 25 years of history and innovation to do that, and multi-cloud, I would say, is another abstraction layer on top of that, right? Ultimately, we see our customers' environment as one big giant data center where they have their regions, their zones, their workloads, and we want to make the underlying infrastructure disappear for them in a way, right? Because they're not technology companies. They're there to serve their customers in retail, in manufacturing, in healthcare, in governments, etc. So how do we create this consistent platform on which they can run their most trusted, critical enterprise business application is what we're in the business for. So it's resonating really well, and the interesting part is when you have these new killer apps like Gen AI, these large language models come into picture, and customers can use the same kind of foundational infrastructure to run that. That is really cool, right? Because you don't need to kind of rinse and recreate a whole new thing. You can pretty much start off with what you have for running your business application and now create a foundational platform for running your LLMs, and they can talk to each other. So that has been resonating really well with our customers. So we got work to do, not saying that we don't, but the foundational strategy, the vision, the technology that we have built for the last 25 years and how we are evolving now to VMware Cloud has been great. Yeah.
Well, I like this topic of the customer's ability to use the existing platforms to work on these next generation workflows, because there once was a time when something new came into your data center. Oh, it's this type of service or that type of thing, or in networking, my goodness, there were a million of these. It came in a box, and a unique box with custom hardware, and one, aesthetically, it was unpleasing. They were very different, but also different servicing. It had completely different interfaces, the out-of-band, how you would do things like application backups. You ended up with just an explosion of boxes. And I feel like this has kind of been the evil plan of VMware is okay, how do we just have a platform that we can run all of those boxes, run all those workloads on? And Gen AI is one of those things of wow, this is a completely different type of compute. We're, getting into some cases slightly specialty hardware. Maybe we can still inference on CPU, but how do we prevent from having another silo? Having another mainframe. Nothing against mainframes, but
I think it's a fair question. And I think last year when we came to Explore, we really talked about this era of ushering in heterogeneous computing, right? Like from GPUs to DPUs to CPUs, right? So, and that is because of the modern workloads that we see right now, things like AI, ML workloads and Gen AI and storage-intensive applications that all require different kind of infrastructure requirement. So I feel, in a way, that the platform that we create is in the service of the applications and the requirements that we need to run on. And GPUs, yes, it presents a really exciting set of use cases in large language models or image processing that we've seen our customers use. In the consumer side, that now we are seeing a lot of applications in the enterprise side, especially when it comes to private data. And that's where I feel you see the next generation of applications on VMware Cloud beyond your traditional databases, your SQL servers, your VDIs, your modern databases. Now you see Gen AI and large language models running on the same platform. Is pretty exciting. Yeah.
No, it's good to see something besides Java hogging all the memory in the data center. So
yeah, that's interesting. And I want to touch on the networking side, but I was having a conversation with the customer, and I come from the networking space, and it's the same. It's not the box thing, but the protocol thing, right? Like we had DECnet, we had SNA, we had ATM. It all got converged to IP, right? Like TCP IP became kind of the common language, and you made it work across your data, your voice, your video, and the genesis of internet happened because of that, right? So we democratized that and made it easy to access and for computers to communicate with each other. And I feel like we need kind of an OSI layer right now for the world of multi-cloud, because there's a lot of inconsistency in the tools, the infrastructure, the protocols that we talk, just from the infra ops perspective. So you need truly a common standardized framework for operating a multi-cloud environment and the application. So that's going to be the next bastion, I think, for VMware as a company to guide our customers and bring along our strong ecosystem partners in this journey towards standardization, so we can truly help build that.
What a great example, because I remember the days of Novell and IPX.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, I really felt bad for IPX. It just, you thought it had a chance, but no, TCP IP definitely, definitely won out.
Yeah, it's good, right? And now we standardize, and it is done open source, and we gave it, and now customers are building on top of that, and here we are.
But what a parallel! Yeah, that's exactly right. We're going to standardize on something. It's going to work, and everyone's going to be able to use it. And we're going to abstract that complexity. That's really good.
Yeah.
So, what other use cases have you been hearing from that actually contribute to this VMware Cloud storyline?
I think one of the biggest use cases, and not surprisingly, is around ransomware recovery.
Yeah.
Right. So you want to look for a killer app with beneficial things for the society and community and customers, and when ransomware is one of the scourge and the threat that every organization and customers are facing.
Oh, yeah.
But the sophistication of these threats, the distributed attack surface that our customers are now grappling with, and the time it takes to even detect a ransomware, and I tell to the customers that I talk to, I think there are only two types of company in this world: one that have been hacked or don't know they've been hacked, and one that will be hacked very soon, right? So that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So it's not only good and critical to have a prevent mechanism, right? Whether it's lateral security prevention with microsegmentation, whether it's having your policy management in place and access control, zero trust environment being created, but it's also really critical to have a disaster recovery and ransomware recovery put in place. And our customers have been looking towards a solution that can do it in a very automated manner,
Sure.
do it in a manner that can scale across all of their multi-cloud assets and property, and do it in a manner that is very guided, that can be self-service without them having to handle a lot. And for us, our VMware Cloud Disaster Recovery with RWR, the Ransomware Recovery, has been really a godsend for our customers who are now having to have truly cloud-native IRE being set, right? The isolated recovery environment being set. They have guided workflows to figure out, hey, where is your safest snapshot recovery point to get to? And then how do you do behavioral analysis to find out lurking ransomware, which are generally fileless in nature? Your regular fileless signature scanning is not going to work, right? So
these attacks have just gotten so much more sophisticated. I mean, I feel like back in the day it was just some bored Moldovan teenagers trying to shake us down for Bitcoin. But like they're attacking the backup infrastructure. They're attacking, and because it's a nation state actor, you've now got the FBI involved, and they want to sit there and use your compromised production environment for a week while they try to collect evidence, and like I need to recover somewhere, and I need something.
I've got work to do.
I've got work to do.
That's one of the use cases. While some of the capabilities that we have built and that we announced today on top of ransomware recovery really helps, right? Because a lot of our customers now need to run like forensics, audited, fortify the cloud environment or their primary infrastructure before they can recover back their workloads, right? They can't be twiddling their thumbs and like waiting for that to happen. Right. They have business to run, right? So now with our RWR, you can run their production workloads in your recovery environment as your primary infrastructure is getting fortified, getting forensic and audited and remediated, right? So, and I think you don't think about these use cases until you are actually in a recovery environment and you look at these customers grappling, and this is something that was foundationally available, but running your production is a very different ball game compared to having backup and recovery snapshots, right, in your recovery environment. So,
And the fact that a lot of our customers for the past year have had that ability if they were in the cloud, like VMware Cloud on AWS. But some of these folks that are have different requirements, like on premises, weren't able to really take advantage of some of these services, like disaster recovery or others. And so I do like the fact that the vision of VMware Cloud offering these add-on services into various cloud editions, if you will, so you can still have your workloads on premises like you do, but then take advantage of some of these services. That's something that wasn't available previously.
Yeah, and we've expanded the workloads that we can protect, not just on premise, but on AWS, VMware Cloud on AWS, on Google Cloud, VMware Engine that we announced, as well as AWS Outpost. So it's truly a multi-cloud DR and ransomware recovery solution that we have in the market, and it's one of a kind. And one of our customers who manages like $80 billion in financial assets, right? So, and they need to have their data, if there's any data, stored really well and have a really good recovery plan. And when they had to do this before VCDR and ransomware, they had to stitch their backup, their disaster recovery, their security solutions, their recovery environment, all of that with the right policy, and it took them months and months to do that. With VCDR, the head of infrastructure told me within 2 days they were able to set this up, the recovery environment, and you can truly go sleep peacefully at night, right? So that's a kind of customer use case that you look towards to have the solution.
With traditional disaster recovery, you often were like, okay, I just need a clone of the production, so it's a 2x tax on all my costs, for better or worse. But the other side of this is you would often try to use technologies that federated your primary instances and secondary to more easily replicate things. You want your AD to just be spread to both. You wanted your firewalls to be peered in such a way that they would move the firewall rules. And now, because of how ransomware is, it's typically now these deeper operators who've been in your environment a very long time. You really want to fail into something that is not federated with anything, that's fully isolated. That isolated environment piece, that is something that
is
the more I learn about, the more I'm like, everybody needs one of these.
And doing this behavioral analysis isn't easy either, right? When you're running a PowerShell, like it's your existing systems and recovery processes that you have, so it's not that easy to even.
You got to find the one good restore point, and trying to do that against a backup storage system that might be as slow as tape, frankly.
Wow, tape! I haven't heard that in a while.
It's still out there, believe it or not.
It's still out there.
Well, Prashanth, this is good. The announcements this week have been amazing. I love the story of VMware Cloud. I love where we're going. And it's not a new story. It's something VMware's been doing for a long time, abstracting the complexity and providing all these use cases and answering all these needs for our customers. I appreciate your time today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your Explore.
Hey, thanks a lot, Pete. John, it's been a pleasure. Finally, I get to talk to you folks.
Please don't be a stranger. Come sit.
Oh, definitely. I'm getting used to this now. Thank you. Thanks a lot.